I hope you're having an awesome day so far. I'm Maddie. Today I'm going to be making my August Soap Club Challenge soap, which is layers on the bottom and then a drop swirl on top. So it's kind of a difficult technique. I'm entering in the beginner category, but I'm going to try it out even though it's a little difficult, and I'm going to challenge myself because that's what the soap challenge is for. I'm about to pour my lye water into my oils. They're just a couple degrees off from each other. I'm going to pour it kind of slow so I don't create any unnecessary air bubbles. And today I'm making my soap challenge soap for the August challenge, which this month's challenge is layers with a drop swirl. Layers on the bottom and a drop swirl on the top. So I'm going to end up dividing this into thirds, and then 1/3 I will divide into half after that. But I'm going to mix this up first and then put my fragrance. The fragrance that I'm using today is Lavender 4042 Essential Oil, which I get from Brambleberry. Starting to get thick. I do not want it. Oh man, I think that's perfect actually. I don't want it to be super thick because it still needs to be thin enough that the drop swirls will come out pretty good and still go together good. What I'm going to be doing, or trying to be doing, is mini drop swirls out of some squeeze bottles that I have. I haven't ever done that before. I haven't done drop swirls like that before, but I don't want big, deep drop swirls. I kind of want like a layer of drop swirls on top of the soap. Alright, so I'm going to add my essential oil and mix this in by hand. That way I don't thicken it up too much more than it already is. And this is 1.3, I think it's about 5% of lavender essential oil. I think it's a little less than 5% because I accidentally got my recipes a little bit mixed up. So when I measured my essential oil out, I measured it for a slightly smaller batch and this batter, and then when I measured my water and lye solution and mixed those together, so I have essential oil measured out for a batch that would have been about 3 or 4 ounces less than this batch is. But it's not a huge deal. It might be a little bit light on the scent, but that'll be okay. Alright. I'm going to separate my batter into thirds, and I'm going to measure it, that way it's accurate. 3. Alright. So the colors that I'm using are going to be Purple Vibrance, Firefly Yellow, and Mango Tango Orange, and all 3 of those are going to be from Nurture Soap. And then I'm using red mica, which is from Brambleberry. Alright, so this is going to be 9.6 ounces. Whoa. That's a lot, okay. 9.9, that was way too much. 9.6. Perfect, alright. And this is 9.6 ounces of soap batter, and I'm going to put Purple Vibrance into it. I'm I'm not going to dilute my mica the way I normally do and the way I'm doing for the other ones, because I want this layer to be a little bit thicker. So mixing in the mica while it's still in powder form instead of diluting it will make the soap a little bit thick, which is what I want. Just for this purple layer though, I've already diluted my other 3 colorants. I'm gonna have to remember to mix up this big bowl of a batter. That way it doesn't get too thick for my other 3 colorants. And this is already, I can tell, yeah, very, very thick. So I'm gonna get my mold. Alright, so purple is gonna be my bottom layer. And I've got my heating pad already set up like always, so that I can gel my soap. I'm going to pour as much as I can out of this container, as much as I can get soap out of this container. It's all going to go into here. And I'm going to do purple on the bottom, red on top, and then my swirl will be with the yellow and orange, which will be on the top, on top of the red. And I'm trying to go for a little bit of a sunset feel, sunset-y colors. Thought about doing a in the pot swirl with this purple and do a purple and pink in the pot swirl to add that pink color for the sunset, since that's what I was trying to go for. But that would put me in the advanced category, and I don't think I'm quite good enough for that yet. I have been soaping for more than a year, but I've probably only made about a dozen, if even, soap batches, and that's really not a whole lot. So I still count as a beginner. Oh man, this is already starting to get thick. I think I stick blended it a little bit too much. Hopefully it doesn't cause too many problems. We will see what happens. Alright. So the next color I'm doing is also going to be 9.6 ounces. And it's going to be red, which I'm using red mica from Brambleberry. 9.6, that was way too much. Part of it getting thick is probably because I pour a little bit too much into these containers and have to pour back and forth. Yeah, see, 8.7, 9.6, 4, 9.6. Perfect. Okay, this. I'm going to use half a teaspoon of this red mica, because I'm using about half a pound, using a little more than half a pound. This is not coming out at all. Pretty sure most people normally, here, that'll be fine, use a lot more. Let's try this maybe. That actually might work. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put half a teaspoon of red in here, and I will also be using maybe not quite half a teaspoon of the yellow and the orange in just a minute. There we go. Alright. And I can always add more red if I need to, which I think I will, because I want it to be a nice, bright, vibrant red, which it'll help a little bit to get the vibrant red when I gel my soap. This section really needs to be very loose because I'm putting it in those droppers, and it has to be very loose for that. Alright, I'm not sure how red this is going to be. I'm kind of worried that this is going to be a little bit pink. Hoping not. I'm hoping that I can get enough red out of here and gel it really good. But of course there's only so much that I can do before the soap is actually done. So add as much red as I can. It's looking a little bit pink. So I might end up having to do this batch again. Alright. So I'm going to try to break the fall with my spatula because I don't want it, ooh, I don't even need to, it looks like. I don't want it to break through the purple really at all. I want it to be a nice, even layer. And they will hopefully be perfectly even layers. That's the hope. And I'm going to tap this down a little bit when I get all this red out to get air bubbles out as much as I can. Air bubbles make the finished soap look a little less professional, a little less nice, less smooth because of the air bubbles. Alright, so these two for the yellow and the orange are going to be 4.8 ounces instead of the 9.6, and that's even, that's an even half. 4.8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.75, 0.8. Alright. And I'm going to mix the colorants up in these measuring units, measuring cups, and then pour them into my squeeze bottles. Oh, whoa, that was way more than I was anticipating. This is actually 5.45, so it looks like I have a little bit extra batter. Alright. So this container here on the scale is going to have a little tiny bit more than the other container. So that's actually going to be, I've already decided my yellow container is the one with a little bit more. Because both of my colorants are Nurture soap colorants, they have a calculator, colorant calculator, that you can use to mix colors together and see what they look like. And since I said before, I'm going for sunset or sunrise type colors. When you mix, where is it? Here we go. When you mix the firefly yellow and the mango tango orange, if you put a little bit more yellow, it actually turns into a very nice sunset yellow color. So if they mix together, it'll still look really, really good. So that's why I was planning on using more, if I had to, if it came to this like this, I can use more yellow. I think it was like a 1-to-2 ratio, one thing of orange to 2 thing of yellow, that I would do more yellow because I liked the way that looked. It looked like a very nice yellow, like on a sunset. Right. And it's kind of hard to tell in the batter because the batter is already a little bit yellow colored. I'm hoping that that's good. I have to work a little bit fast since the soap is getting thicker than I anticipated. I think it's because, well, I know it's because I stick blended just a little bit more than I needed to initially with all of it, because I wasn't quite sure if I had emulsified everything. It kept looking like it was coming apart. I'm suddenly wishing I had another small spatula instead of this big fat one, but that's okay. Alright, so I think I'm actually not going to use these dropper bottles just because this soap is starting to get really thick. So at the end, my laptop had to reboot, so I'm sorry that it stopped videotaping. I just poured the yellow and the orange from up high so that it could kind of get into the soap and make that drop swirl, because that's how you make a drop swirl. I did end up having to make 2 batches. I chose to end up making 2 batches. So these are from my first batch that I videotaped, and this is what I ended up submitting to the soap challenge. The yellow and the orange kind of blend in a little bit, but you can still, if you look pretty close, see them from each other. And then I wish I had done the red a little bit more red. It's a little bit orangey tinted, I think. So I wish I had done a little bit more red in it. And then I thought I did want to do it again because I thought I could do better, which is what I made with this one. This is my second batch. The layers are perfect, and I learned from it, and it does look pretty okay. It does look pretty okay. If I was going for this, then it would be perfect, but there's not a lot of a drop swirl. But you can see that there's a big difference on the swirls between the first one that I made when the batter was a little thick, and then the second one where the layers are a little bit too perfect. So the fragrances that I used for my first batch that this is on, that the video is on, was lavender essential oil, and then my second one was unscented. I have now submitted my soap to the soap challenge, and now I just have to wait and see what happens. I hope y'all liked the video, and I hope you have a super great rest of your day.